Hello, welcome everybody. This is Comics Villain, and we're going to be doing a review for Joker. So, very interesting film. Before I start, I want to say if you're hearing a little humming sound, it's my fan. It's just a little hot where I'm at right now, so I'm going to keep that on for the time being so I can survive this. Yeah. So I have a lot to say about the film. I have a lot to say about the film, but I put it into a few points here and there, and we'll discuss it and you know see where this all goes. So the movie itself, I'm not gonna lie. I want to be honest about this. Initially when I heard about all the rumblings in regards to the film, there were like threats, right, that there might be something that would happen to the movie theaters. And that was like all the media was talking about it, talking about incels and so on. Well, nothing happened. That doesn't mean that I wasn't a little nervous going into the film, but at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was like, dude, nothing's happening here, like at all. It was blown out of proportion, and this is sort of my theory on it, and I want to be really quick so I can get to the review. But my theory was that certain people didn't like what was being presented in the film, and maybe they thought it was an attack against them, which really wasn't the case from what the director has stated. But moving on, they thought it was a slight against them, so probably they felt the need to hurt the film's release financially by saying that there could be some insane person going and hurting people at the film's release. And the FBI got wind of it. They started saying it was incel terrorists or something like that, which probably came directly from the people that were offended by this film and were trying to hurt the film's release. So a lot of people heard about this. Everyone kind of got a little worried, didn't know what to make of it. And sure enough, the weekend came and went. It's Monday now. Or sorry, Tuesday, and nothing happened. Nothing at all. Nothing Friday, nothing Thursday, nothing Saturday or Sunday, nothing even yesterday when I went. Which, believe it or not, actually there wasn't a whole lot of people when I went. I went early morning too, and I saw it in Dolby Atmos, which is like the best way to see this stuff, the best way to see films. IMAX is what it is, and if you go to AMC, you'll probably get a good seating. I think they recline there too. You'll get a good theater, depending on the theater, if it's an old one or not, and if they upgraded their stuff or not. But I prefer Atmos just because the sound quality is amazing. I prefer it because of a lot of reasons. But let's get into this. So the film itself had a great beginning and let's say a great middle and a great end. It was done masterfully. There were things done throughout the entirety of the film that I haven't really seen too much in many other films. As in, it was very artistic, very great. It was, though, very interesting to see the transition, which was extremely slow, happening throughout the entirety of the film. You see mild, meek, and yet there's something beyond the surface that comes out in very interesting ways. In regards to the character of Arthur Fleck, who later becomes the Joker. Spoilers. So, very, very interesting to see that. The film can be a little disturbing depending on how close to home the scenes are for you and the material is for you. Some people might have an issue with it because they might see themselves in that character. And I'm going to tell you right now, don't do that. This is not someone you were to relate to. It's just not. You can probably pick up little things here and there and say, man, I can totally feel for the guy. See what life is doing to him. But there's more to it. There's way more to it that we're not seeing and understanding, that you won't see and understand until you see it a second time. Do not feel bad for this guy later on in the film. Early on, I can understand, but trust me, don't put yourself in his shoes. So the Joker makeup was very cool. You know, you'd see sort of the evolution as it things kind of progressed. You know, he'd put the makeup on every so often for specific reasons. You know, for his job as a clown. Uh, and he would get lost in this little world of his whenever he was, you know, doing his clown bit. That was very cool and very good job, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin, honestly, is amazing and did such a fantastic job. The man deserves, you know, an award for this. Really, really does, and I hope he gets them. I'm sure he will, unless mainstream media tries to bury this film, which you never know. Probably will, but honestly, such a good film, deserves lots of praise, and deserves to be watched multiple times. Just because it was done, well, it was done right. I don't have a thing about it that I would necessarily change. I know people might want to change certain aspects, but uh no. I think it was fine as is. I didn't have any real major complaints about it. The story was completely insane, which is fitting. But when you see all the little twists in every nook and cranny of this film, when you see not just the twists, when you see the story for itself, what it's trying to say, and the different messages behind it about society itself, and say the government's role in people's lives and people's own sort of connection to entertainment in place of, you know, like good role models and a good family life, and you know how mental health kind of affects everything. Uh, there's a lot to consider in this film, and there's a lot that we can talk about as a result of films like this that explore that. That's not to say films like this haven't been made, especially when you realize like the influences this movie, or what movies influenced this, like Taxi Driver, for instance. but but there's a lot to be said as a result of this, you know, I guess this sort of modern version of Taxi Driver. But no, it's it honestly was very well done, and you guys trust me, you'll like it. So, camera shots were very impressive. If that's just sort of your bag, you know, your thing, then definitely check this movie out because there's some great shots, great angles, and yeah, it's impressive. It's cool. So there is a possible connection with Antifa, and it could be a biased view. It could be, you know, just if you know Antifa, you know the kind of things they do. You kind of can relate the clowns in this to Antifa, and I mean the protesters. They're very anti-rich, you know, anti-establishment. They're almost actually they're actually asking for like the murder of rich people, and you know, society itself kind of starts to decline as a result of uh, a scene in this movie. You know, Joker. It's hard not to say this, but he makes it. He almost kind of makes a name for himself, but in an Antifa sort of Guy Fawkes. No, I shouldn't say Guy Fawkes, but I guess I will because that's sort of what he does to make the clown is sort of a symbol. I won't say what, but yeah, no spoilers here. So I wanted to discuss this article right here because it actually talks about exactly what I was saying. Joker director, this is from the Washington Times, by the way. Joker director Todd Phillips slams far left outrage. It's really been eye opening. I mean, that's basically what he says. Not a whole lot more to it, but let's get into it. Director Todd Phillips, in a new interview, slammed critics who argue his upcoming film Joker could inspire violence, saying it's been eye-opening how the far left has embraced cancel culture, which is very true. Weaponized it. I'm surprised. Isn't it good to have these conversations or discussions. Sorry, Mr. Phillips told the Wrap in an interview published Wednesday. Isn't it good to have these discussions about these movies, about violence? Why is it a bad thing if the movie does lead to a discourse about it? Interesting, huh? Critics have accused Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, of promoting real-world violence, which is laughable because you can compare this to things like, John Wick, which is amazing, an amazing movie, honestly. And painting the notorious supervillain as a hero. He was never a hero in that film. Never. The problem can come from people that are putting themselves in the shoes of that character. I found myself at times, I would almost do that, and then I'd realize, dude, this guy's insane. This is crazy. I would never do any of this stuff. And then I realized how I had to sort of look at it. I had to look at it, not from, within, not from his perspective. I have to look at it outside of it. If you look at the movie correctly, you will be looking at the downward progression of a madman, a person that is basically being destroyed by everything he knows and everyone around him, but at the same time, he wasn't given the best foundation. He wasn't, and they discuss a lot of that as he was a kid. Growing up, he didn't have an adequate foundation. His entire life, I mean, there's no fixing him at this point. There's no fixing any of that. So anyway, let's continue. Last week, families of the victims who were killed during a Batman movie at a theater in Aurora, Colorado in 2012 wrote a letter to Warner Brothers demanding that the studios donate profits to gun victim charities. Demanding. Warner Brothers defending the film, explaining in a statement that one of the functions of storytelling is to provoke difficult conversations around complex issues. Yeah, I don't think people have a good understanding of what is going on, and they don't have all the facts. I mean that for a lot of people. So, let's continue on. In his interview, Mr. Phillips lamented that outrage has become a commodity and that both sides of the political aisle share the blame. I mean, that's a thing, though, because I see the left, the far left, using it a lot more. That's not to say the right doesn't, but the left uses it a lot more. There's no bias in that. I'm sorry. It's literally just what it is, how it is. And yeah. Anyway, in any case, what's outstanding to me in this discourse in this movie is how easily the far left can sound like the far right when it suits their agenda. He said, "It's really been eye-opening. We didn't make the movie to push buttons." He said, "I literally described to Joaquin at one point in those 3 months as look at this as a way to sneak in a real movie in the studio system under the guise of a comic book film. It wasn't, we want to glorify this behavior." Because they didn't. It was literally let's make a real movie with a real budget and we'll call it effing Joker. That's what it was. And you can tell that's really what they did, because there are a lot of elements of this that you could actually strip away the Joker side of things, the comic book side of things, and it would just be a Joaquin Phoenix movie of a man descending into insanity. And a guy that's really good at acting. I mean, he didn't have to be the Joker. It could have been anything. The way they did it was actually pretty brilliant. I don't see him as a hero, an anti-hero. I see him as the villain. You saw the villain. So, yeah. So, the world is never kind to Arthur. To him, it's always against what he is, what he's doing. He wishes for, his idols to acknowledge him, for himself to find love, to also be a stand-up comedian, to be successful, to be loved by people. He wants a lot of these things. But at every turn, At every single turn, he has life kind of pulling him down, bringing him down, uh, not giving him that moment of victory, that moment of happiness. And even when he tries to do things the correct, well, I shouldn't say that. I should say when he tries to do things he deems correct or right, it backfires. A kind world, or no, an unkind world hits back when he tries to do what he deems correct. And things very much spiral out of control in your first watch through of the film. But then your second watch through, you realize things were never in control. He was never, ever in control. And you'll understand after you watch the film. That's not a big spoiler, trust me. The music and the dance is a big factor for the Joker. You'll see that in this, and so is sort of the laughter that kind of comes from him. I want to say this, and I don't think it's a big deal, because they talk about it early on that he has a condition where he uncontrollably laughs in moments where it's really awkward, really, really weird. He's maybe stressed out. That laughter just kind of comes out. And I want to say this, because it's never... I don't think it's an official... I don't know. I want to say that maybe that's the real him trying to come out. But who knows? Who really knows? They don't ever really give you that that confirmation in the movie. But the music and dance are a very big part of the character, of his transformation, of him like more coming out and being the real him, this Joker persona. The film itself is not as twisted as I was expecting, especially after the media was trying to cancel it. Because really, going back to what I was saying earlier, there's films like John Wick that do quite a bit more to teach people, how to do some really twisted and messed up things to another human being. And those are more real world as far as how a lot of things are done and implemented. This was more like a character study, but I think it makes everybody very tense when you watch it the first time. And depending on how you're viewing it, can have kind of a weird effect on you. You have to be very careful. If you yourself are dealing with mental issues, this might hit a little too close to home. I don't know. Maybe you know someone that has mental issues, psychological issues, that acts a certain way, and maybe certain parts of this film remind you of that. That can have an effect. That could definitely have an effect. There were many, many, many memorable scenes. I'm telling you, just amazing. Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix are a great duo. The whole team there did a fantastic job. And personally, I liked how they incorporated the Joker's, I don't know, the overlay of the whole Joker origin on top of what really is just a film of Joaquin Phoenix going insane. That's really what it was. And that's what they wanted to try to do. So, many great scenes. And you guys will honestly... Gosh... I'm going to say this, and I'll think I'll have a lot of disagreement with other people, with fans of Batman and Joker. This is probably the best incarnation, in my opinion, of the Joker. Now, we didn't get as much as I would have liked, but at the same time, we got a lot. And I think you'll understand what I mean when you see the film. We didn't get as much the Joker as I would have liked, but we did get quite a bit. We got quite a bit, and that's from the building blocks that add up to who the Joker is. And it, very slowly over time, you see the Joker come out. I would love to see a sequel, but at the same time, I don't think it's necessary. I think I've heard that Joaquin Phoenix is actually open to it. No one knows really at the moment, it's not out in the open, if Todd Phillips, the director, is open to it. Interestingly enough, normally it's the villains in the movies that will, or in the stories, that really make the heroes shine. In this film, it's actually everyone else besides Arthur Fleck that make him shine, that make him stand out, that make him really progress towards this whole insanity endgame. And they do it in such a great way. Everyone was really well done. Every character is really their own thing, and no one's the same. Nobody's the same character, the same type of person. Everyone's got their own personalities in this that very much come out, and you can see it from Joker's boss, Arthur Fleck's boss, Arthur Fleck's mom, Arthur Fleck's co-workers / friends or acquaintances, to just random passerbys, people that he meets and become a part of his life, or Thomas Wayne and Bruce, and like everyone's so different from one another. Such a good film, man. Overall, I would easily give this a 10 out of 10. I think some people are wary of that, like, oh, should I? Like, I'm very tempted to. No, I'm going to give this thing a 10 out of 10. It was a perfect film. It's a masterpiece, and I think more people should see it. I think there's a lot to be said about this film. I think you can study it for quite some time and get a lot out of it. I don't know how the conversations are going to go going forward in regards to this film. I will say that definitely more conversations should be had, as you know, there's a lot of thought-provoking messages, themes, and elements in this that are worthy of discussion and discourse. So in any case, guys, I really hope you enjoyed my review for Joker. It's a great film. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it multiple times. I feel like there's a lot to get out of it. This is like my new favorite film, next to stuff like 1408 and a lot of others. I have a lot of favorite films, but for different reasons. So I'll definitely be rewatching this over and over. Thank you very much for sorry, I gotta do that Geeks and Gamer way. Thank you very much for watching, and please like, comment, share. It helps me get out and helps me reach more people that way. Please do subscribe if you haven't yet. I'm trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber goal, and I could definitely use your help. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.